even recession predictions. What are you seeing?
So I think we need to take a step back here. We entered the year with just unbelievable euphoric excitement about what was going to happen. We also entered the year with the market sort of priced for perfection. I think now as we roll forward to where we are today, we're sort of in a world where we're in a price for realistic uncertainty. And uncertainty is not good for growth. So we've gone from this excitement to unpredictability. And the unpredictability has to do with where are we on the economy. And I think a lot of your data showed there's still a little bit of confusion on the economy right now. What we have seen for the beginning of the last 3 months in the early stages of the presidency is we've seen the consumers starting to be a little bit concerned about tariffs. The concern about tariffs has driven them to preload or front end buy a lot of the larger items that they were going to buy.
Buy them now because they are might be cheaper than in a few months.
We've seen automobile sales at almost all-time record highs. So we see people buying automobiles because they're trying to avoid tariffs. They're buying consumer goods, they're buying washing machines, they're buying technology items. So we've seen the economy actually be in relatively good shape. So if you look at the actual data, what people would call hard data coming out of the economy right now, it looks pretty solid. If you look at the softer data, and the softer data is polling data, and you just showed some polling data. There's an awful lot of economic polling data. You start to see much more weakness in the polling data. So if you look at consumer confidence is an indication of what I'm thinking I'm going to do going forward. You start to see a lot more weakness in consumer sentiment and in consumer data. And I think that's starting to play through the economy. This week, we started to see a lot of the major companies in America report earnings for the first quarter. Now, remember, that's backwards looking the first quarter, but companies also have a view of what's going on in the second quarter. So you started to see some of the major consumer-facing brands say, look, our first quarter was pretty good, but we're starting to see signs the second quarter is not going to be as good as we hoped. We saw it in fast food restaurant like Chipotle. We saw it in snack foods for Pepsi-Cola. We saw it in the airlines. The airlines have talked about how difficult their restaurants are. And we've also seen it in the very high-end products. We saw it in LVMH is warning about sales slowing down. So we're in this part of the economy where there's this lack of predictability, there's uncertainty, and the consumer's acting that way by sort of withdrawing from the market and only buying the essentials and the necessity products or products they think they can buy today because they may be more expensive tomorrow.
Or perhaps not on shelves tomorrow. That's something that we heard some of these retail